A lot of mornings for breakfast, I like to have a bacon, egg, and cheese bagel. So I'm gonna make some bagels with you today, and these are sourdough bagels. And even though these take all day to make because of the rise time, they're really hands-off and only a few simple ingredients. So you'll want to start with a half a cup of sourdough starter, and you want this sourdough starter to be active and bubbly. And then you'll need a cup of warm water, 2 tablespoons of honey or maple syrup, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, and then you'll want to add 2 cups of flour just to get this dough started. And after you get this mixed up, then we'll add 2 more cups of flour. This is going to be a very stiff dough, and I'm glad that I have my Bosch mixer for this because my KitchenAid mixer did not do very well with this very stiff dough, because you want to knead this stiff dough for about 10 minutes and it would make my KitchenAid mixer almost walk off the counter. So having this Bosch mixer really helps me to make bagels, and this is the first time that I'm making bagels in this. So I added the 2 cups of flour and mixed everything together, and here I'm adding the other 2 cups. I know this is gonna look really stiff and you're gonna think that you added too much, but trust me, 4 cups of flour total is the right amount for this recipe. So like I said, you're just going to knead this dough for 10 minutes in here, and then it will develop the gluten in the dough and then be ready for its first rise. So after 10 minutes, I take the dough out and I put it in a bowl, and I cover it with some wax paper, or this I guess it's actually called beeswax wrap. I have some of this. I don't use it a lot. I do like it, but I decided to use it this time for this bagel dough. So I just place it in the bottom of the bowl after shaping it a little bit, and I take this to my pantry. It's warm in there, and try to remember to keep the door closed and let this rise for a good 6 to 8 hours in there. This sourdough bagel recipe is perfect to make at night and just let ferment all night long. It's such a stiff dough that I don't think you can over ferment this leaving it out, but I decided to do it in the morning and just let it ferment all day. So I'm just going to get this dough out now, and I'm going to shape it. I'm going to cut it into 8 equal pieces, and then I'm going to shape it into my bagels and put it on my cookie sheet to let it rise again. So I just fold over all the sides of the dough, and then I just poke a hole in the middle with my fingers, and then I just stretch the dough out a little bit to make the bagel shape, and then I just place it on the cookie sheet. Then you want to cover your bagels with a damp tea towel. I know this towel looks dirty. It's just very well used. I promise it's clean. I just wet it with some warm water, and then I'm going to cover the bagels for 1 to 4 hours until they look puffy. So once the bagels have done their second rise, you'll want to fill a large pot full of water, and then we're going to put a tablespoon of baking soda and a tablespoon of sugar in this water and bring it to a boil. After you boil your bagels, you can put anything on top of them. You can leave them plain, you can make them sweet with cinnamon and sugar, but I am going to use everything but the bagel seasoning on all of my bagels today. So now we're going to take the bagels 4 at a time and put them in the boiling water and boil them on each side for a minute. Here you can see after the minute, I'm just flipping them over on the other side so that they could boil on the other side for another minute. Once they've boiled for a minute per side, I'm just going to lay the bagel down into the everything but the bagel seasoning. I'm not sure if this was the best method for this. I ended up using a fork instead of that wooden thing with the holes in it, and this method seemed to work a little bit better, but it may just have worked fine just to sprinkle the seasoning over the bagels in the end instead of using this plate method. I do want to add that when you are making this dough, you can also put add-ins. You can add in cinnamon and raisins or blueberries or whatever that you want to into this dough before you do your first rise. And I may try this next time and make some cinnamon and raisin bagels because that sounds really good. I did forget to mention that after the second rise of these bagels and right before I started the pot of boiling water, I did preheat my oven to 425 degrees. And the time it took for me to boil all the bagels and get the seasoning on, the oven was ready and preheated. So I got the bagels in the oven and I baked my bagels for 20 minutes. And after cutting into the bagel, I realized I probably could have baked them for maybe 25 minutes. I didn't want them to overbake, but they did have a couple of spots that were not done all the way on the inside. So I know that for next time. You just kind of live and learn with these types of things. So here my bagels are done. You can see that they're brown and they look delicious and they smell delicious. I had one of my kids come out and ask me right away if they can eat one, and they did eat one and said it was one of the best bagels that they've ever had. So when you get that from your kid, you know you did okay. So my husband and I went and ran an errand, and then we got home. The bagels were cooled. I cut them open just to show you what they look like on the inside. I always appreciate you stopping by my channel and watching my videos. I hope that you'll give these bagels a try, and I hope that your family loves them as much as we do. Bye.